She told me she wanted to open the relationship after 7 years. After 7 years, she told me she wanted to open the relationship. Told me she decided she was poly and wanted to explore that side of her. Tried to frame this as if it's not just her wanting to sleep with other men by claiming this is an emotional deficiency in our relationship, like that makes it any better. She's been unemployed for 2.5 freaking years. 2.5 years I've worked 50 hours a week to support her ungrateful behind, so she can sit at home and do nothing but play video games and trash talk me to people online who apparently agree I'm not enough for her. She doesn't clean, doesn't do anything for the 2 damn dogs she brought into the relationship, doesn't do anything for me but unenthusiastic bedroom activity once in a while. She didn't even ask me, this was not a question. She just said that she wanted to open the relationship and acted like I was just going to have to go along with it. If anything, that's selfish, which is the reason this relationship has been emotionless for some time. She even tried to shame and guilt me when I said I'm not okay with this. Tried to tell me that no one man can fulfill everything she needs. Think of it like a puzzle, you're only one piece that fits to make me whole, and that I need to stop taking it personally. The only funny thing about this whole situation was how quick that manipulative witch changed her tune when I told her to get the F out. Go find her puzzle piece who will support her financially, because I'm done. Her shaming quickly turned to her apologizing and begging me to stay with her. Only funnier thing was when she showed even more emotion, when I told her she can't take the computer I paid for with her when she went to stay with her parents. This was just the straw that broke the camel's back, but it stings nonetheless. Now for the top comments. Glad you realized you should drop her. Sounds like you could have easily done it long ago. Life is short, mate, so crack on however you want and enjoy it. Knew that this relationship was only really benefiting her for a while now. I stayed with her for a variety of reasons, mostly because I convinced myself it was better to be with her than alone. This was just the final wake-up call I needed, that it was, in fact, better to be single than with her. Don't forget to change your locks, otherwise you might come home to find all your stuff has gone missing. Got the locks repinned the day after her butt moved in with her parents. Also, change your bank accounts and credit cards. Good for you, honestly. Yo, I said, F yo, out loud when I saw that he kicked her out, lol. Hate to be the one to tell you this, but based on the post title, her side of the relationship has likely been open before this request. I don't doubt that. I believe she's never cheated on me physically, but I know for a fact she's been messaging guys online who she wants to bang. I could be wrong, maybe she did go and spread her legs around, but wasting any more time worrying about her is time wasted. Go get a test. Yeah, I will go get tested just in case. Next story is titled, I, 28 female, pressured my husband, 26 male, into opening our marriage, and now he is divorcing me to be in closed relationship with his girlfriend. Plus update. Original post. I don't know where to start. After we got married, I finally confessed to him that I am kinda on polyamorous side. It took me days to convince him that it's not just an excuse to cheat, and that he can meet other people too. I wanted us to be one of those cool couples with zero jealousy and toxicity when it comes to the other people. Well, I should have seen it coming. He was depressed for first 6 months. I could see it on him, but I thought he'd be happy for me and hoped he'd realize that this is something good for both of us. After that phase, he became even colder with me, and my attempts to try to get him more involved into our marriage were failing. Then finally, he started seeing someone. It was killing me to see him on the phone with her all the time. He then got a separate bed too. He no longer wanted to even sleep with me, as his girlfriend wouldn't like it, and I felt horrible. A literal stranger was stealing my husband and I could do nothing about it. Then he'd start sleeping at her place more and more often, and now it finally happened. He brought divorce papers. He doesn't even want to speak to me anymore. I tried to tell him that we can close back our marriage if that's what he wants, but he doesn't want to even discuss anything. He just said he wants marriage and kids with her, and that is tearing me apart. What can I do to save my marriage and get back the man that I love? If I knew this would happen, I would never even bring up the idea of opening anything. Now for the advice before reading the update. What can I do to save my marriage and get back the man that I love? You can't. Your husband is done. You need to accept that and move on, no matter how difficult. And please use this as a lesson for future relationships, that it is not at all acceptable to pressure someone into an open marriage against their wishes. It was done when she told him she wanted to duck other guys. I agree. I don't think this is salvageable, as even with therapy both parties need to be willing to try to make it work, and your husband is not. I know it's hard, but try to see it from his point of view. He may feel that you pressured him into something he didn't want to do, as an excuse to cheat on him. He may see it all as you cheating on him, and have been heartbroken, hence the depression, and even then, you didn't offer to close things up. So, he got over his heartbreak and found someone else who was monogamous and is moving on. I think if you had started the conversation when he was in the depression, it might have been salvaged, but you waited until he had moved on with someone else to try. It's okay to be polyamorous, but equally it's okay for him to want monogamy. It was never okay to pressure him into it. Your marriage was over the minute you pressured him into opening it. Sign the divorce papers, there is no way to save it. He basically just stayed with you out of convenience until he found someone better suited and less selfish. What did you think would happen? You can't honestly be that stupid that you didn't realize what the consequences would be when you forced an open marriage on him. You went about this completely wrong, saw he was depressed for 6 months and ignored it, and waited too long to finally decide to do something about it. Learn from this and let him go. That part is what bothers me. So, she saw he was extremely upset for 6 months and still pushed it. She didn't mention who she dated or what she did in that time. It wasn't ethical, it was selfish on her part till he moved on. You said you finally confessed to him that you wanted to be a polyamorous relationship after getting married. Which means you knew before getting married, but waited until after to be open with him about something that is knowingly a deal breaker for a lot of people. Lying by omission is still lying. You based your marriage on a lie of commitment and monogamy. Withholding information that prevents your partner from making an informed decision is selfish and morally wrong. There is no getting your marriage back. It seems to me that when you opened the marriage, he spent 6 months grieving your relationship and dealing with the emotional equivalent of a breakup. Then he moved on and clearly took her feelings seriously if he stopped sleeping in the same bed as you. There is no getting him back, he's moved on. Based on what you wrote, your marriage ended months ago. Unfortunately, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Now for the update. I signed the divorce papers and will not ask for anything from my husband, just hoping that he will no longer hate me. As much as I regret my decisions, I cannot go back in time now. I love that man and I wish I didn't take him for granted. I was just blinded by excitement and new experiences that the open marriage brought us, just I'd always come back to him. While he stopped to be intimate with me and even bought separate bed after he found a girlfriend, and he soon even moved into her place. We don't have any property we got together, and I don't want anything from him in the long run either. This will be my last gift to him, and this is the least I can do for him after all I did to him. I could tell he was depressed, but I thought he'd be happy for me. Oh man, this is my favorite Reddit trope. Let the schadenfreude reign over me. Allow me to wallow in it, to luxuriate in the forbidden pleasure. This is what killed me. Like, what the heck were you expecting? For 6 months you made him miserable to make yourself feel better. I mean, she glosses over exactly what was making him depressed, which I'm assuming is her going on a lot of dates and being away or distant. Shocker, OP pressures their spouse into an open relationship and it ends badly for them. Her own selfishness ended the marriage. In her second post she acts as if she deserves sympathy, but I don't even think the whiners and r/support for waywards would support her. Even the way she bought it up originally was awful. You don't wait until after you marry someone to reveal you want an entirely different kind of relationship, not to mention one most people would not be okay with. She clearly deluded herself on multiple levels to serve her selfishness. I came here to say something along these lines too. Why wait till you're married? That's not fair and truly some relationship-ending garbage. Because if she had told him beforehand, she'd have lost him for sure. She fished in the ocean for a trout, and when she got something else, she decided it would do. Now for the last story. My fiancé confessed about sleeping with her ex-boyfriend as his last request before he died of cancer. His name was Tom, age 34, and he passed away a month ago. They had a long-term relationship that lasted for 6 years. She was the one who ended it, and I met her 2 years later. When I heard of his passing, I was shocked, as I didn't even know he was sick, and my fiancé never mentioned it, though she had a habit of bringing him up once in a while. After the funeral, I noticed that she became distant and quiet. She'd refused to even make contact with me. I kept thinking she must be in the midst of heavy grief, but I still felt something was not right. I tried asking her to open up, and she refused and sort of shut me out for a while. Yesterday I came home and found her crying. She refused to let me sit next to her or comfort her in any way, even refused to let me talk to her. I didn't know what to do other than to wait till she had calmed down. She then told me she had something to tell me. She started talking about Tom and his illness, and who was there for him and who wasn't, and so on. She then told me she was contacted by him 3 weeks before his death, asking to see her. She said she felt hesitant, but then went. What she said next shook me. She said he told her about stopping his treatment for a while, and how he felt alone and discouraged. He proceeded to ask if she could spend one night with him as his final wish before he passed on. She said she thought about it a lot and felt conflicted, but eventually agreed. They spent the night together. I know what night it was now, and ended up doing it. She started crying again, swearing that she didn't feel anything that night nor afterwards, and swore that she did this out of guilt towards him. And now she's feeling 10 times more guilty. I'm in an utter shock. I have no idea how to react or what to say. She keeps pleading with me to be understanding of the position she was put in, and not wanting to be dismissive of his request in his last days. I still don't think it's an excuse to do what she did. She said it wasn't about her or how she felt, but about Tom. I still feel like she's wronged me and betrayed my trust and damaged the bond we have together. She hasn't stopped begging me to understand and forgive so we could move past this, but I feel like I'm not the same after I found out about what she did, regardless of her intentions and the fact that he's not around anymore. She's not the Ronald McDonald House. She doesn't have to be out there granting wishes. Or the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I'd much rather call AITA the Make-A-Wish Foundation than the Ronald McDonald House. Hey dude, sorry you're in this situation. I think there is something you should consider. And I will give you this from the perspective of a guy who has been married 9 years and with my wife for 13 total. If my ex or her ex asked to meet up and my wife didn't tell me, that is a bad thing. I would not care if the person reached out and if my wife wanted to go, but the hiding it hints that there are other things going on. Then she planned an entire night away with him and lied to you about it. That she slept with another person while you were in a relationship with her, and my assumption is you are not in an open relationship. If your girlfriend is loyal to you, or is showing loyalty to you by telling you, I think the event would have happened similar to this. She would have told you her ex reached out to you and that he is sick. Then if she went, she would have come back to you and discussed the proposal. Then you could have figured out if it would work, or if you were both willing for this to happen. Then it happens or it doesn't. The sneaking around about it leads me to think there are other issues in your relationship that needs to be looked at. Good luck. This is the real root of the issue. The act hurts, but the holding back of the initial meeting is the real problem. Why didn't she feel like she could share that with you? Can you be in a relationship where you can't share with your partner? This should have been a conversation at minimum. Good luck in whatever choice you make. I'm sorry you were betrayed. I've read similar stories here. There was one story of an ex-wife. She had cheated, leading to the divorce, whose dying wish was to have her remarried ex-husband come spend some time with her. She'd wanted cuddling and stuff, and to pretend they were still married one last time. He wasn't comfortable with this, but felt bad for her, so he ran it by his very understanding new wife, who set some boundaries in place. He was able to go see his ex one last time, dinner and a movie with her and her sister, no cuddling, and then came home. That was the proper way to do this. Communication and boundaries. Not a pity hookup that she is then guilting you over. This would be a relationship ender for me. I'm sorry she is so crappy and that she is now mourning, to your face, the guy she cheated on you with. This is the correct response. My thoughts while reading the responses was that, if I was currently with a partner who I adored, but an ex-partner put this request to me, I would decline. But wouldn't be against meeting up to chat or reminisce if it would help them. But it would all be discussed with my current partner. She clearly wanted to do it. The fact she didn't even disclose the original message is a red flag. Then lied and set up the evening with him, cheated, and now feels guilty. Be prepared to be made to feel guilty about this OP, which you don't deserve. Feel free to read her some of the better responses on this post if you don't feel like defending yourself anymore. Good luck. No more need be said. The relationship ended the moment she made that decision, and more than likely she'd lose all respect for him if he were to let it slide anyway. If I were in your shoes, I couldn't forgive her. Loyalty shows in moments like this, and she clearly didn't have it. I agree with you. She wants you to forgive her so she can feel better, not anything for you. More selfish behavior. If she was thinking of you, she would not try to guilt trip you into forgiving her. I'm not dismissing the fact she feels guilt, that is certain. I feel she is trying to guilt trip you into helping her feel better.